working at school, I spent the best part of a year working for the Lancashire Education Committee, and all of a sudden it was Wigan Education Committee in 1974, after the 1st of April. And it was different because Lancashire was quite remote, Wigan was quite new. The idea of Lancashire being remote was not a new thing in Leigh, because twice in the 40s and the 50s, Leigh Council tried to interest other councils round about to form a county borough area of Leigh, Hindley, Tyldesley, Atherton and Goulburn. But it fell on stony ground, and history could have been different, but it wasn't. And I found that Wigan Education Committee were far better than Lancashire. They provided a lot of in-service courses. They provided non-contact time for teachers, which is a new thing. They're a forward-thinking education authority, and attracted a lot of national media attention because of their forward thinking. They were quite ahead of their time. In time, I began to appreciate that they were a good education authority, and that made me less inclined to say no Wigan and say yes, Wigan's better than what we had before. It meant we went about the borough to different schools, different places, different centres, and it made you much more aware of the wider community completely. At the same time, the culture in schools was changing, and when I started teaching, the majority of head teachers, the great majority of head teachers, were men. And gradually, women began to rise through the ranks, as it were, and now there are far more female head teachers than men, certainly in primary education. But this is 50 years on. But things were changing, and they were changing for the better. And we had more, I wrote to the director myself a couple of times on matters. I'd never dreamt of doing that before to Lancashire. I even got replies. The director was more accessible than they ever had been before. The staff were more accessible than ever before. And the culture in schools gradually changed because it was a better culture in schools. It was still man-heavy, as it were, but it was gradually changing. Well, I took advantage of what in-service was happening and the various initiatives provided by Wigan Education. For instance, I was a founder member of the Media Working Party, based at the old then teacher centre in the old grammar school down Railway Road. And I became part of that Media Working Party, and I began to lead training courses in media education. And it was opening up new fields to me, and within a few years I wanted to become a deputy head teacher because I was married and I had 2 young children, and I wanted more money. I wanted to advance myself, and I became aware of the opportunities. That the classroom teaching became a too small a model for me in a way. Perhaps I was a bit big-headed, but I wanted to go upwards and achieve more, earn more, provide more for my family. And within Wigan, there's plenty of opportunity. So I got a deputy headship at St Gabriel's Leigh, and that was after 8 years at Holy Family. Then 8 years of deputy headship at Highfold. I got a headship at Sacred Heart in Green. And then local management for schools, HIT schools, which was basically head teachers had their own budgets, the councils did not control them, and that changed education massively. And then Ofsted came into view. And the truth is, it became a repressive burden on schools and head teachers, as I see it.